Everyone, welcome to Ambition Amplified. I'm your host today, Celeste Lopez, on this fine Sunday. And today we have a very important visionary with us who is creatively transcendent and in every media possible. So, give it up for our interviewee today and our guest, Julian Williams, also known as MetaBeing. Thank you so much.
Yes. How y'all doing? Never met a being like met a being. It's nice to meet y'all.
Oh, I love that. That's so good. We're going to talk more about your name later. I'm so excited.
Okay,
But
bet.
thank you so much for joining us today, and I hope it's going good for you. But let's jump right into it.
Okay,
I
bet.
wanted to start from the top and just tell me, I know we're going to get into a lot about what you do,
Mhm.
but from what your story is like within art overall, how has that been from the beginning?
How has it been from the beginning? I would say that I've been blessed with these, characteristics, these sense of nature, the way I look at life and my perception. I've been blessed with these things pretty young. So when it came down to art, it was just really focusing my intentions for, what I wanted, for what I saw in life, or what I thought about, the things that was going through my head. That's really what I turned my art into, because it's a disconnect when you're trying to explain things to people and they don't really understand it until they're able to see it. And
Yeah.
so that place took that need for me in my art.
Yeah. Would you say it was like that need that you wanted to see what was going on in your head kind of put into the real world and that like
Yeah.
wanted to do that?
Basis about manifestation, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. That for sure. I mean, just to be like specific, I never intended on being an actor or, a artist as far as like a, rapper, singer. None of these things came with like oh, this is what I want to do when I grow up. And I was put in a position, and it was really shown that this is for me. God
Yeah.
put me in places where I didn't expect, or I would have never thought that these would be the moments that mark my career, or it shows me that this is what my passion truly was.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. That's a beautiful answer. And you wear so many hats. We're gonna get into that later,
Yeah.
but you have so many different ambitions within you, and I'm just honored to see someone that's able to show us their beauty like that. But
Thank
yeah,
you. I
that's
appreciate that.
good.
It's a lot to be able to put it in front of you. I'm not gonna cap to you. You see what I'm saying? A lot of
Yeah.
times people worried about what people gonna say, but the most important thing is what you gonna say.
Mhm.
Someone telling you what to do is a secondhand voice to the spirit that you have inside of you, letting you know your gifts and letting you know what's purposeful for your life. And so for me, I felt as though that I found more fruit and I found more value and fulfillment being able to truly be get these parts out of me. Being able to still make art, but also being able to cultivate and connect to people. That's something I've been doing since I've been a kid. I can talk to anybody.
Yeah, I love that. That's beautiful. And you're clearly a busy person with all those notifications, but I get you. You're busy and you're booked and you got so much to share with everyone. So thank you so much for joining us. Like I said, I'm really honored that you're able to give us some time. But
Thank you.
yeah.
Same. I appreciate it. The best part about it is, our presence. We can't make this up.
Yeah.
We got to be here to be able to see it. So I appreciate you just as much as you appreciate me.
Oh, thank
And
you.
everybody watching, you feel me?
Exactly, yes. Everyone else. Thank you so much. But I wanted to also, I love that answer, but I wanted to recently talk about your performance and your event design overall at MetaFest. That recently just happened October 25th. That was amazing. And at the Book Club Chai, anyone who's interested in booking that event space or wants to see more in the future, hopefully.
Yeah.
But what was that experience like for you, and did it live up to the expectations that you were hoping and the vision that you were planning?
I will tell you from the beginning to the end to manifest these things and it happens builds an amazing sense of fulfillment. Just to
Hmm.
be able to say like this is what we know we need to be doing, this is what we want to do, this is the focus that we have in front of us. I've been talking about doing shows since I started, really becoming an artist. And when
Yeah.
I was in Atlanta with Cheese, which is my producer, if y'all know, Say Cheese.
Hmm.
We would talk about the times like, bro, it's all gonna be coming together for a reason. It's all gonna make sense. Every stage makes a difference. You see what I'm saying? So these are the stages now where we would talk about back then, like, man, I wish I could have a show. I wish I could have my own show. I
Hmm.
wish I could, you feel me, put people in a room together and be able to cultivate these things. And it's like, we wishing it, we can manifest it, we can stand on it. You feel me? We can put our attentions there, we can put our work behind it. And truly, it made me cry. I ain't gonna cap to you. It was a different type of experience to be able to not only say that this is me, but to have people that I truly care about. You know, being able to give their say so, being able to put their kudos in, for people to be singing my lyrics the way they were.
Mhm.
Yeah, it definitely lived up to what it needed to be, especially on the aspect of the artists that came. The artists that came and they rocked out and they showed themselves, you know, that they showed out. It's a couple of them that told me like they've never done a 20-minute set before. You see what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it was definitely a beautiful time to be able to not only see that, you know, this is our job, our life and career, but this
Mhm.
feeds us.
Yeah.
These are all the things that we've been talking about since day one when it came down to really making this happen. So I was nothing but ecstatic.
Yeah. And
You hear my show.
yes, it went really well from what I saw. The big crowd and everyone was just so involved. It was just such a big community. It looked like at the end of the day, I loved it. How was it like with the process of creating it? I know it could be just a very hectic, almost scary situation sometimes, knowing if you're going to get the right people or people are making time for you or last minute things.
In the words of Herb, every day some new shit. But I'll tell you, like ups and downs are already something we have to understand and we have to cultivate as human beings. You feel me? That's something that I've always been privy to. But then when it comes down to when you're putting these things in a better placement, when you know when you're focusing all your energy into one spot, especially when it's for fulfillment, it's for your prosperity, it's for your peace, it's for your intentions, your passions, stuff like that. It's always going to be crazy things knocking at the door. So left and right, I had crazy things knocking at the door, crazy things knocking at the door. You know, we end up coming out to, you know, two of my artists dropping out same day. You see what I'm
Oh,
saying? I had to be able to refill that, you feel me, with two amazing artists that came and they rocked out, you feel me? Shout out to Lala Too Much, shout out to After Dawn Music. You see what I'm saying? They came and they rocked out completely, like, and nobody would have ever known. You see what I'm saying? So, for
yeah.
even knowing that these trials and tribulations that come, and as long as we focus, you know, we put that same intention to these things that we do with anything else. You feel me? The same amount of attention it takes to be distracted, the same amount it takes to succeed. And so for me, I just could not allow, you know, especially with Meta in front of it, I just could not allow
Mhm.
things not to go. You know, the show must go on.
Yeah.
You know, things have to, they have to move in the right direction, regardless of you're the catalyst to that change. And for me, that's my everyday. I'm so used to it that it was just like, all right, bet, let's make it happen.
You've grown some resilience, it seems like, and that you just,
Oh
you
yeah,
know what you got to do next. You're just on to the next thing when something happens.
you have to
Um,
be. You know, it's like breathing. You know, the best part about breathing is remember that you have life. You know how
hmm
many breaths a thousand breaths ago was? Most
hmm
people don't. You know what I'm saying? And that's
Yeah.
how it is to live. You know, that's how it is to be able to go through your everyday. You know what I'm saying? Today might be a little heavy on your chest, but by tomorrow, you ain't even gonna remember how it felt.
Yeah. Oh, that's such wise words. I hope everyone listening is taking those notes because it can be hard nowadays, especially nowadays, but it's always good to just remember you just got to keep on moving. It's one
No,
day at a
truly,
time.
truly, truly.
I love that. That's beautiful. Yeah. And I wanted to also just talk about you're a founder of a network LLC, the
Yes,
Network
yes.
LLC. And I was looking so much into that. I thought that was such a beautiful, beautiful business that you have, which has become such a vital space for creatives in Chicago. And it's super important that you have that. Can you share how the idea came to be for the company and what the mission drives it forward?
Okay, so just to be able to break it down, how this idea came to me was finding a place that not only would allow creators and thespians to grow with each other, but to be able to create a better human being. You know, the better we become as artists, better we become as actors, better we become as dancers. You know, it's truly our fruit of gift. So the better humans we become, the better these things would, you know, become anyway. Just like a rubbing off aspect. And so when I was really taking my classes and I was, you know, coming up in our industry, I was always looking for a placement of direction because again, these things were brought to me. You know, I was put in the rooms, I was put in the auditions, I was taken to these places. I actually got caught cooking breakfast for who's my best friend now by her mom. That's how I became an actor. She called me in her house cooking breakfast for her daughter. So as far as the case may be, I didn't have the best, I would say, guidance. but I did have the best spirit, you feel me, and I did have the best, intuition to be able to make these things happen. So
Yeah.
for me, I wanted to be able to create a place that creators can learn. Creators can go from 0 to 100 and actually be valued in their presence of being. You know what I'm saying? So I started to think about it, like, what would I do on the basis of me getting kicked out of college to be an actor? What would I do for somebody that has my same dream? Because I wanted to finish and still act, but
Yeah.
the schedules wouldn't line up as well as the agreements. So for
Yeah.
me, it was something that I wanted to be able to also still be able to give out. Instead of being able to, in my case, finish school, I'm going to create a school. I'm going to create a place where now I know for a fact we can get the job done. We can get the mission done.
Yeah. That's
And
beautiful.
thank you. Then network makes your net worth. That's truly where it all came from, where it stems from. So going along with the story of how I became an actor, I ended up doing Shameless like a couple weeks after I got founded. And Ethan, he's a good friend of mine. He plays Carl on the shot. And
Even
so,
Kokovsky, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
great. Yeah.
So off of our connection, us meeting, we just had a really good connection. You know what I'm saying? We hung out that first day, and my first day on set, I didn't know the difference between an actor, an extra, a core. You know what I'm saying? I just didn't know the levels of how big these things can go. And so I'm talking to them same way I'm talking to you. You
Yeah.
know, and one of the PAs tried to come separate us. Ethan allowed me to really come kick it with them and then stay with them. And then he started to let me know what I was doing was networking naturally. I was already getting people's names and their purposes and seeing what we would be able to align with and just really getting everybody's understanding. And so he let me know that I was networking, and that always stuck with me. So anytime I went on set, I would always network. I would use my spirit to be my biggest sense of network. You see what I'm saying? I would find good people that needed those conversations that would, be really having ups and downs in their lives, and you let them know that this is their passion. It gives them a different type of feeling. Because I was leaving high school to come do this. I've been acting since I've been 14 years old. So I was getting on a bus, traveling 2 hours all the way downtown. You feel me? All the way to the west side, all the way to Center Space to go shoot, and that was my everyday.
Wow. That's a busy schedule for someone so young, but so
Oh,
awesome.
yeah.
You're like, no, it was
Oh,
nothing.
no, no, no! I'm not going to capture you. It was the most exhilarating time of my life. I probably got
Yeah.
some of the lesser times of sleep because I was still an athlete. I still was a youth Christian leader. It's a lot of things that I upheld with myself just because I did not want to ever go without. I didn't
Yeah.
want to ever go without living with my spirit. I didn't ever want to go without having a great experience in high school. I didn't want to go without being able. And a lot of times, when you don't know what you're good at, being told no stops everything. So for
Yeah.
me, I'm good at a lot of things.
Hmm.
It's really what's going to be the thing that's going to take me to the place I need to be in my life. And that's the way I saw it since I even moved to the schools I moved to, or, just chose the decisions I needed to do. My parents taught me that very young. Your decisions not only mark your life, but it gives you the value of your purposes as well. So for me, even going to high school was a big difference because I come from the city directly and I started to go to school in the suburbs. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to change my life from the get go.
Hmm. Wow. That's a lot. That's so much. But it's beautiful. I mean, your story is so important to who you are, and it's created, with all these interactions, it's literally built up to who you are today. And
Amen.
that's
That's what I be looking back on. And sometimes it be hard to think about it. Like, man, this is what I'm really good into.
Yeah. Oh, I
Yeah.
love that. I wanted to ask you more about the network and like what your favorite moments were are being able to collaborate and teach and inspire young artists, during this entire process. Like what are some of your favorite parts or moments kind of running that business?
Okay. I will say my biggest prideful moment
Hmm.
from having this company and this business is not only for my siblings but for the youth that's around me. It gives them real tangibility to see that their career can be what they want it to be. You see what I'm saying? Like, I've went to so many different schools. I've went to so many different, not for profits. I've traveled, a lot, and I've
Yeah.
talked to so many adults, and a lot of times our conversations stand back to being able to help their kids, being able to help their nephews or nieces, being able to change, again, our lives the same way that we talk about changing our lives. Now, taking a thought and turning it tangible.
Mhm. Oh, oh no! Ugh, it cut off. Hold on, guys. We're getting them back.
Hold on, Carly. My
Perfect.
bad, my
Perfect.
bad, my bad. Phone call, phone call, phone
You're
call.
good. You're good. It happened to me last live, so you're good.
But yeah, so making the thought of making it having the thought of making it tangible is what I'm blessed at, and being able now to create a company where it's not about the money, it's not about the placement you are, or where you are. It's truly about putting your intention in front of you, and putting the work behind you to make it happen.
Yeah.
Hundreds and hundreds of people, from adults to now children. I'm working on opening up a school in every major city. I will. That's like my dream with the network. I want to have an automated based school where you can go and get talent development whenever you need to. And being effective talent development always leads us to a place of creativity. That's where my media production comes. I produce, I direct. I take these stories, or I take moments that we've cultivated, and I put them back into our sense of entertainment. So those are like the things that really get me like super hyped. You feel me? Being able to see the kids' faces, being able to go outside and do things also for free. You see what I'm saying? And then obviously we do make good money, but being able to change people's lives with the projects that we do.
Yeah. Amazing. And I'm so happy that so many people have you to thank for that. That's a beautiful thing. You're doing some amazing work. For
If you know Meta, you got to act like you know better. Come on now, Meta makes it better.
They're really, I mean, they're definitely knowing better now. So
Oh
I
yeah,
love
oh yeah.
that. I really appreciate that, honestly. As a creative person, we love people who are able to stand up for those. So you're doing
You
a
got to
beautiful.
put your hands out, and with these hands, as everybody know, I got some big ones. You got to put your hands out and reach.
I love it. I love it. And I wanted to talk about Chicago in general. Clearly, it has played a big role for you in your journey. How has growing up here influenced your art and the person you've come to be today?
Man, I was just telling my Uber driver this. It ain't nothing like being from Chicago. Like, I don't care, because I travel. I travel a lot. I've been a lot of different places. And they can just tell. You just know that, like, a person's from Chicago. And it's a different type of comfortability, because I was explaining this to Uber driver, and I was explaining, like, man, everybody is also able to be who they are, and not be in your business. Like I think everywhere else, everybody has this sense of, oh, what this person doing, what this person doing, what is this person doing, and in Chicago specifically, this could be your homie, like your best friend. You're like, I don't care what they doing, I just know what I'm doing right now, and
Yeah.
so that's definitely showed me a lot. We're hustlers. You know what I'm saying? That's something I've always known. We will get out and go get it. It's snowing. We still out here going to go get it. You see what I'm saying? It's just a different type of hunger being from Chicago.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, a lot of people do know I am Nigerian. You see what I'm saying? So it cultivates my life completely different, because I'm already, from a very strict and hard place, ethnically, and then to be from another strict and hard place, just environment, it kind of makes me real rounded. I'm unstoppable in the head of mind. You feel me? There's nothing
Yeah.
that I can't do, or anything that's going to hold me back when it comes down to really understanding what's needed in life.
That's amazing. Yeah, I mean it really does show in your work how resilient you are. So I think it's a beautiful thing that you have being from a big city like Chicago. Do you think it's gonna influence a lot more within like your work, like your artwork or anything like that?
It's I moved back. Yes, I've done a lot with Chicago. I mean, even specifically, I have a reality show. Chicago Speed Date is the basis of the show as well. But we take singles, we put them on dates. Find the love in 24 hours is our new basis of the show. But I'm definitely trying to find more ways to not only implement art in Chicago, but change You see what I'm saying? It's a lot of times where, you know, I'm pretty sure y'all remember the era. It was more entertaining for people to be taking each other out and talking about each other badly than it is to show somebody that you're talented. And for
Yeah.
me, it's always been cool to show that I'm talented, I'm gifted. You see what I'm saying? That I'm and starting to really make a difference. You know, people, they're tired of losing. They're tired of hurting. You see what I'm saying? They have to do something with that energy. And what I learned in my life, you know, through the through the philosophy of art,
Hmm.
energy is never ever going to be created or destroyed, especially
Yeah.
on our level as humans. The only thing that we can get good at is transmuting the energy. So you're going to have to use this energy some type of way, somewhere, somehow. I feel as though you using it for the basis of your being and your art, that allows you to be exactly who you need to be. You know, my father's a carpenter, you feel me? We built our house. We built the life that is around us. So in my head, no matter if you're, you know, building something, if you're making something, if you're helping maintain something, you're still part of the process. You're
Yeah.
still part of the understanding that, you know, your position matters. You feel me? You're still in the art aspect. And so I just want everybody, you know, turn their lights on. Right? That's really what I'm going around doing. I'm getting people to put their energy in other places.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. I love that so much. I think I actually agree with the whole energy thing. I've always been saying that to my family because it helps me, think about who we are as people and how we're created and how we're gifted
Who
with.
we are as beings, human beings. God called us
Yes.
to be human beings. A person is a construct and a characteristic that you build over time. So that's why a lot of
Yeah.
times that we have to be that. But you are able to change as a human being. You are able to grow as a human being, and you are able to become anything that you need to be. That's the whole basis of us being here. Like even our words make a difference. You see what I'm saying? Even
Hmm.
our presence in this aspect makes a difference. So that's if you understand now, meta being. It
Whoa.
really is.
Well, I mean, now that makes sense. Now I can. I was gonna ask earlier later about your the name and where that came from, but now that makes sense.
Yeah, knowledge of is what meta means. You feel me? The presence of our knowledge. It means to know, you know. So
Yeah.
to know and then our being. Who else? Who else is there to be able to speak and express the aspect of who we are, where we come from, and what we need to do in this life other than meta? You gotta know. You gotta know it.
Yeah. I love
And we're
that.
not
That's
talking about Facebook,
beautiful.
y'all. We're not talking about Facebook. I've been meta before Facebook. Y'all ain't gonna play with me. Come on.
No, I love that. That's you have such ambition. I love it. That's beautiful. All your
You gotta have
passion.
ambition. They think you're crazy when they don't see the ambition until it work. Yeah.
Exactly. That's true.
No,
That's true.
facts.
And then they'll always double down on it too, but
Come on,
that's
man.
another story. But yeah, I wanted to talk more about also just your personal style as well. And I really admired your beautiful, wardrobe and your Instagram. And I think it's just so unique and eye catching. And I know this is a switch on conversation, but I really want to talk about it because I just can't, your background is just so beautiful. And I wanted to more talk about, your creativeness within your own how you express it on yourself, you know? And I just wanted to see like what your inspo is when it comes to your style and, the way you dress yourself, the way you present yourself as a being.
Okay, that's a beautiful question, actually. Yeah, that's a really good. Yeah, that was really good. I would say to answer this in a very precise and concise way, I remind myself that I am human. That at ground zero we meet God. You know, when we add numbers to things, we are adding a sense of volume for our validation. You know,
Mhm.
when you're bigger than this or you're bigger than that, it changes the aspect of our prosperity to pride. So every day I get up and I think about focusing and changing what was before and what could I bring, you know, that ideal into now. You know what I'm saying? If things weren't good yesterday, how can I make them good today? And I try to reflect not only my outfits but my settings like that. You see what I'm saying? Like right now,
Yeah.
I'm at home. I'm in the studio right now. You see what I'm saying? You know, this is my vibe for the lights. You feel me? Right in front of the computer. You know, these are some of the things that I really appreciate in my life, as far as my medals. My reminders of how important other people see me, so I can still remind myself on that too. Because sometimes, obviously, us being in this body, we appreciate and depreciate with the much time we got. You feel me? You can
Yeah.
feel like, man, I'm on top of the world one day, and as you spend more days with yourself, you're like, really what is it, you know? So it's really a reminder, you know, to be able to know that the same type of view that we have on other people or other things, or the energy and heightenedness that we get to start something new is not only what I cultivate, but what I have to be able to give on 100% basis. So I can't be too caught up in my own emotions or feelings, or I can't be so stuck in this moment of life to not be able to actually feel and, you know, experience life. And for me, I think that the best way of doing that is releasing all the stressful ways. You know, like sometimes where you might not want to do this, or you might not want to wear that, or you might not want to, you know, be here. I throw
Yeah.
all that out the window. I throw all that out the window. If I might not want to go, but it's a reason I gotta go. I might not
Yeah.
want to wear this, but it's a reason that if I put this on right here, right now, I'm pretty sure somebody gonna end up saying something to me that now we got a whole different type of connection. You know what I'm saying? I might not want to say something. Julia might not want to say something, but Meta gonna have to. You see what I'm saying? And it comes down to remember the duty that you know, give yourself for whoever you call yourself, whoever you see yourself as. You know, I know that I'm chosen. I
I
know
love
that I cannot always follow my own mind. I have to be able to lean back on God. So with that, it leaves me to remember, like, it wasn't always like this. I didn't
it.
always have Starry Night, Van Gogh, you feel me, hoodies next door. You know, it
Yeah.
wasn't always TikTok lights around. It wasn't always movies and me having medals. It was moments where it was just me. It was just me and these bricks. You see what I'm saying? The same way me and my dad, you know, and my family, we built up this house. It wasn't always like this. People come over now, they be like, oh my God. You see what I'm saying? But you go back 20 years ago, they be like, oh, my God. You know,
Yeah.
it's a constant reminder. And I feel like I do that from the way that I move. I do that from the way that I'm viewed. You know, I go switch up my hair real quick. You know, I find other ways to just express myself.
Yeah. I love that. And I think it's interesting the way that you kind of put, the name Meta Being as almost like a different version of yourself to kind of go through life and push through life. Do you
It
feel like
is.
that's what's helped you kind of get to the point where you're at today with just kind of putting yourself aside and be like, well, I wouldn't do this as Julian Williams, but Meta would, and I got to do what Meta is doing today.
Amen. 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 You said it. Now you said it. Now you said it. I'm gonna let you know. Before I was Meta Being, right there, if you really know me from back then, when I was like first version artist just by myself, I was Juju King Kong. And they would call me Juju King Kong, obviously because of my hands, but, you know, as they say, I step on shit. You know, my energy big, you know, I can change the room, you know, whatever the case may be. And so I end up coming up with a story about outside of that, you know, like King Kong fought so hard. He went so deep because he loved so much. You know what I'm saying? His heart was so big. And I stand with that so much, you know. So back then, I ain't gonna cap. I used to be yelling it to him. I used to be angry with him. I used to be putting myself in positions that might not be as fruitful as needed, you know, even though I knew better. And that's why over time the conviction started to hit. And I knew from what I was doing, you know, because I make metal music as well. There was a lot of screaming and yelling, and you know, it was a lot of different type of vibes, and not only me finding myself, but also being comfortable with the things that I'm going through in my life. That's how I got a lot of things out of my music. You know what I'm saying? Like Crows and Vultures is definitely one of those songs. You know,
Yeah.
people even hear me talk like this, and oh, so crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like it's
Yeah.
really a separation of yourself in the first place. So for me,
Mhm.
it was already something I understood. You know, our flesh and our spirit are already on two different planes. You see what I'm saying? I already understood our depiction of life and our definitions of life because we couldn't be physical, mental, and you feel me, spiritual on the same plane. These things have to come from different planes for us to be able to make us who we are. So for things to be aligned, I have to have discipline. I have to. I got to
Mhm.
stand strong on what's going on, what I actually see in front of my face, and it's not easy.
Yeah.
It's, it's not. It's not. It's
No,
not.
it's
So
not.
having the backup, you feel me? You know, having, you know, my dad, my brothers, my mom, you know, my sisters. You know what I'm saying? Having my friends, being able to
Yeah.
get in that two piece when I'm understanding that who I'm becoming, who I am, is bigger than just me. It's bigger than just, you know what I'm saying, music. It's not just for the music. It's not
Yeah.
just for the shows. It's not just for the interaction. It's not even the hoes. This is truly for the transformation. When you meet me, then I used to ask this all the time, like, what happens when you meet me? Because I would want to know, like, what is the interaction, what is the perception that people get when they see me? People put me up here, and I'm still putting myself on ground zero. You see what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So now it's a point where it's like, look, it's not. I'm not trying to build Julian up to the point where now I'm famous. I'm prideful. You feel me? I'm
Yeah.
sitting there fighting over points that's not necessary in life. I want to be fruitful. I want to be on time. I want to be needed. You see what I'm saying? I'd rather be the seed than to be the attraction. And it took a long time in entertainment, in being attracted, you feel me, in being the person that people talk about, to realize that some of these things are a little more vain than needed. You know what I'm saying? Like, I still live everyday, normal, regular life. You feel me?
Yeah.
I still go to the country and go get on some horses and chill out on our farm with my family before I go out of town and spend $3,000 on cars and chains. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I still appreciate the values of our lives. And so for me, I was like, what is it? And I remember this is what New Year's 2022. 2022, 2020, well, leaving 2022, going to 2023.
Uh,
This is when I became like meta being for real. This is when
mhm.
I truly became meta being. And God spoke it to me right in my ear. What what happens when you meet me? And I was just sitting there. I kept asking everybody, what happens when you meet me? What happens when you meet me? And it was like, what are you trying to ask? Or something like, bro, there's a
Mhm.
sense of feeling that people get. It's a sense of comfort. It's a sense of like something. I know when people meet me, they've met like it's not me. They met me, obviously, but it's not me. It's something else because the duty starts to speak. The God currency starts to come out. And that's the presence of my present. I talk about God all day and not
Mhm.
talk about myself at all and still get the point across. And so for me, it's like, what is it? What is it? What is it? You know, a lot of people used to hear me say, hey, my name is Julian Act. You can watch me on the Shy Chicago PD, Shameless, Netflix Beats. It gets a little remedial after so long. You see what I'm saying? And it gets a little shallow when people just only want to know you for the things that you're on. And so for me, I dawned for a good minute. Nothing but silence, nothing but silence. And this is how I know it was nothing but God. Because in moments of silence, that's when your best sense of commune is. That's when God can allow you to understand and hear the best messages. And
Mhm.
so I'm sitting there just asking myself, like, what happens when you meet me? What happens when you meet me? It's like, you met
Mhm.
a being. And I was like, what? You met a being. It's not because whichever aspect of culture we want to, use. But
Yeah.
when God sent his chosen people, it's not about the name he sent. It's not about the name of the messenger. It's not about the name of the messenger. It's about the message. So in my case, Julian Williams actor, oh, that's great. Yes, I get it. But bro, the messenger, they met a being. They met someone that's able to be
Yeah.
exactly what, there we go. Exactly what we trying to pray on right now. Exactly what
Mhm.
we thinking about. Exactly what we manifesting. Why is these moments happening? If you are in the same place at the same time, in the same moments with somebody, it is ordained by God. These things are very detailed. God has an amazing detail in my life that I've been paying attention to all the details I've had from the moments of me learning how to build, from how to talking, how to being able to communicate, how to take my energy and transmute it, how to pray. You see what I'm saying? How to manifest. These are all things that put me in a position. And now wherever I use this mic, whenever I go on stage, wherever I'm in front of people, there's not a performance anymore. There's a true interaction. There's a true, you feel me, sense of fulfillment. There's a seeding that's going on. We're fellowshipping at this point. I'm not performing. I'm not acting. You know what I'm saying? This is all real.
I love that. That's a lot to unpack there, but it was beautiful.
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of thinking on this. Yeah, a lot of thinking, a lot of
No.
thinking.
And
Long
it makes
nights, long nights.
sense. Yeah, it makes sense. It all makes sense. I mean that's you, you know? That's amazing. Do you feel like that spirituality that you have with you is being a huge, you know, you try to implement that into your art as well?
You got to. Without it, God to take away all my gifts. I've already experienced that. See, I got my life back. Very young, I lost my life, and I was able to receive my life back, and that is the most gracious thing possible. To be able to be able to live is the most gracious thing we have here. See, when I learned that in our contracts, and I call them life contracts, God gives us contracts, right? And our duty of our contract, we are supposed to experience. And within that, God asks us for allowance. And God actually, allow me to be in your heart. Allow me to come inside of your life. If you have to allow God to come inside of your life, that means everything else is secondhand nature of allowance. These things have to break down under the same dependency that God is allowing. And so for me, I was allowed to get my life back. It would be nothing but a smack in the face to turn around and act like it wasn't a grace of God. It wasn't, you feel me, the blessings of the good Lord that keep me going every day. People, they see the smile, they able to see, like I said, you feel me, the clothes, the interaction, they able to see the
Yeah.
energy, and they think it's just all cherries and blossoms. But they don't understand that everyone has to go through dirt, just like roses do. Everybody wants a beautiful
Mhm.
rose, but don't nobody want to go through no dirt. And in my case, I think that's what's going to make the most beautiful rose. It's the dirt that you come from. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so I started to look at, my dirt, and I was like, I don't want to ever be ashamed of knowing that this is where I came from.
Mhm.
And so I always looked at life in a way that I got to make it happen this way. That's my duty here.
Yeah.
If I gotta worry about my allowance and my experience, I mean, I will experience all. You feel me? Because I mean, I'm here. We are in life, but I will not allow all. I will only allow now prosperity, peace, and purpose. You hear me? It took a long time to
Yeah.
get there. A lot of times we just let things happen, let people put us in positions. Again, people. When you're a person,
Mhm.
you're used to being this thing. It's remedial. It's muscle memory. When you're a human, that conviction to change. Maybe today a little different than it was yesterday. I might not have to interact the same way I
Yeah.
did. I might not have to see things the same way that it used to be. So, in my case, I've really taken this to the point of our 3D.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, little kitty.
Sorry, she was
We hear
hitting
you
my
now. We hear you now.
laptop.
Say hey.
They really like what you're saying, my cat. So they're messing with it.
Man, man, man,
But
man.
that's really powerful. No, I love that. How do you feel like, you personally define your success when it comes to your creative journey, but with, your spirituality in mind? Because I mean, you can say like, oh, I'm successful in this, and that, like you mentioned, but where do you find that balance between your humbleness, your success, and keeping to, your grounds and where you come from?
That's the thing right there. That's what I would say has been the most. It has been a very, very big teaching moment
Yeah.
to not let the ways of this world take over the ways of my intentions and motivation, because it is definitely very shiny out here. There's a lot of things that like I said, I could have done, I have done in my life. You see what I'm saying? A lot of things I've learned from, a lot of things that I've taken time to break down. And anything good comes from God. So even when it comes down to the wealth and the success of my being, of my presence, of my career, to be able to have trust in God allows you to stop worrying. Because if I'm a pray, there's no point in me worrying. If I'm a manifest, there's no point in me putting those intentions in the backwards box. And it is because it is, and it can't be because it isn't. You see what I'm saying? And when you start to look at life that way, it changes the way you feel about the moments that you don't have. I look at the things that mess me up as a blessing, because now I'm able to not only learn, but I'm able to cultivate. You feel
Yeah.
me? I say I count up all my L's when I count up my W's, because it takes 2 L's to get a W. You feel me? It takes
Yes.
two of them. You got to count them up at the same time, because there's no way that I'm going to win without losing once and maybe another time.
Mhm. I
So for
love
me,
that. Yeah.
thank you. I found nice, cool ways to turn real life into an enjoyment. The same way I would think that Jesus would with parables. You see what I'm saying? That's those are the things that used to get me when I was younger. I used to be like, why? Like it's
Yeah.
almost like a certain slang to talk about. And you have to be locked in to really understand it. So even like with my friends, you see what I'm saying? The way that we base true success is off of KNOW versus NO. You see what
Mm.
I'm saying? So we're saying the same thing, but the only difference is what you're truly. you're seeding out of yourself. Your body's only going to listen to yourself. Your subconscious is only going to listen to you. So if you keep telling yourself, I know, I know, I know, with the basis of no
Yeah.
energy towards the experience, you're negating that. But if you're actually putting yourself in a presence where you're able to listen, you're able to grow, you're able to take it in, and then eventually make the decision of saying yes or no, that changes your view completely. It changes the way that you're able to interact around what we call the game of life. Totally. Because then no more, it's not a game anymore. You see what I'm saying? There's no more sense of having to keep up when you look at life this way. I don't think my life truly has like, how I would say, mentally has been like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I spent a lot of time manifesting, praying, spent a lot of time meditating, spent a lot of time, talking about what it is going to be, making that the baseline of how things got to be.
Yeah.
So for me, if things don't go a certain way, either I missed a step or God is telling me to wait because he got something way better.
Mm-hmm. I love that. Yeah. I feel
There
like
ain't no way I can lose. I mean, personally, how do you see a person losing it in the
yeah.
first place?
I always see it as a lesson. I never see it as a loss. I see it as a way either like I agree with you. I think
That
there's a reason
that's what
behind
I'm
why
saying.
people go.
Once we get him to understand that part, all the bickering, this he say, she say, it's out the window. Cause what did I lose? What did I lose?
Yeah.
Nothing. I
You
learned
gain
something.
you gain yeah,
Amen.
you gained
Amen.
experience, yeah. Gain knowledge, yeah. And I wanted to ask a little deep question almost.
Of
Um,
course.
you've mentioned that, you have gone through moments in your life which you kind of, you've experienced a lot of not negative things, but you definitely you weren't wandering with your spirituality sometimes. And it happens to all of us. We all go through those moments where we kind of lose ourselves.
I call them distractions.
Yeah. How was that like navigating through? And did you have your support, like family, friends, or was that all like kind of your own self-discipline to kind of push yourself into that spirituality one more time to kind of, you know, bring you back to where you came from?
I'm gonna always give it to the ones around me to remind me who I am, because those are the ones that need me. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Um, just in the basis of me not following my discipline. That's something that, as a man, as a young man, as a black man, that's something that is very important for
Hmm.
us. As a man that follows God, it's very, very hard to have the fruits and be fruitful with the things that he's giving you if you're not going to be disciplined. And I'm not perfect. I am human. I've come to a point to realize that the moments of hell is what makes me appreciate the presence of heaven. You see
Hmm.
what I'm saying? So I can proudly say that I was fucking up. But the thing about it is, who plans that? Like you see, it's two type of people in this world. It's the ones that realize and the ones that don't. And the ones for me was like, I realized that not only is planning a mess up, planning a distraction, planning a failure, probably one of the worst things you could do, but you halfway doing it. Like you're not even pulling your full intentions in anything if you distracted.
Yeah.
You're not trying your hardest. You're not trying your best. And the people around me kept reminding me that how we got here is off of doing, not off of talking, not off of thinking. Like, yes, these things are important to the job, to the mission, to the goal, but you have to do. You
Hmm.
can't even be judged by God until you do. You see what I'm saying? Your thoughts truly could, but it's the basis of us doing what makes it free will. You see what I'm saying? You have to make these things actions, and faith with no works is dead. So for me, as long as I keep working, and then when I mean it working, I mean like as long as I keep putting these things into everyday, you know, facts instead of fiction.
Yeah.
A lot of time people take these moments and they think about it as a fairy tale, or they think about it as science fiction or something that's so far out. But in reality, same way you even came into this world, the same way that things can change and come into your world. You know,
Mm-hmm.
people have to really realize that we're dependent creatures. So if we start depending on other places, then we're going to need those other places to feed us. And I've realized that in and out. God is the only thing that's going to be able to feed me with the appetite that I have. Because the enemy is going to distract me, right? It's going to feel like I'm full. It's going to be like McDonald's. It's going to feel like I'm full. And we all know about this. You know what I'm saying? We all know about the presence of things that look good with no nutrition. That's what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying. The world get real shiny. You know what I'm saying? The world get real shiny. And it's great to know things are shiny, but eventually shine fades. Eventually these things will disappear. You still going to be here
Mm-hmm.
though. So for me, it's like, do I really want to play that game and have to do all this extra hard work? Like, I'm a hard worker, but I'm definitely not an extra hard worker because I didn't want to work hard. You feel me? When I needed to, I just felt like that's slow.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm wasting not only my time, my presence, my energy. I just don't appreciate it the same way. So
Yeah.
for me, I think the moments of the distractions is what kept me so locked in now because I'm pretty intelligent. I knew what I was doing. I knew that I wasn't trying 100%. I knew
Mm-hmm.
that I was just trying. I was just trying to do this, try to do that, which is unsuccessful actions. You see what I'm saying? You truly know that when you're trying, you're not putting your full everything into it because you would just get done. You would just get it done. You don't try to talk. You just talk.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when things are needed, you just gotta handle it the way that's according to it. And for me, I feel as though that I've been made fit for a lot of things that's been called for in my life. For the people that call me for the reasons that they need help, for the backup that I provide, I'm blessed to be able to have a great counsel around me. My mom reminds me of that all the time. You feel me? Your counsel are the ones that can remind you of who you are and still teach you. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It's not a point of pride when it comes down to your counsel. Because you could be in a position where you're like, I've been doing this and I've been doing this and I've been doing that and I've been doing that. Well, guess what? You ain't here by yourself. I ain't gonna get you nowhere but to see what's going on. And you need two of them to realize that you right there. So if we're gonna make anything work, we need to be able to work on the interjection of the I
Mm-hmm.
into the preparation. Because we're all separated in some type of way. But if we start to see ourselves in the way we see other people, that's when the grace starts to come out. That's when the peace starts to truly happen. And you want to help. You want to serve. You want to look at these things as your duty.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's just the best way for me to put them for, not only for me, but for
Yeah, I mean, that says it all. I mean, I feel like it's very important that you give yourself that grace and you have to learn. It's not just something you can do overnight. It's something you have to, it's a talent.
yeah, you got to
It's
be able
a,
to.
yeah, it's something you build. And it's important that you're able to have a community and people you can fall on just as much as they are there. You're their person to fall on as well. It's that equal treatment.
Equally yoked. God called for all our relationships to be equally yoked, not the ones you just like, not the ones you want, not the ones you think are cool. All your relationships.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yes, equally yoked is what allows us to be on the same page or the same sense of value. 2 seconds. Can you please put those back? Thank you. I appreciate it. You're not going to take all of my markers. You can get two. You can get two. The best part about it is like I got a 7-year-old little brother, right? He comes
Yeah.
down when we're in the studio. He comes and he draws. I have an
Oh.
18-year-old little brother. He makes music with us as well. He's
Oh.
amazing. He's McQuell. If you heard a couple of my songs, he is McQuell.
Oh.
Yeah, that's my 18-year-old little brother. And then I have an 18-year-old little sister. She plays like 4, 5, 6 instruments. She's musically inclined. Yeah, and then my other sisters, they also play instruments as well. They play some music as well. So I truly feel as though, as far as us being creative and us being able to make things, it is something that we have in this. It's our gift. We got to be able to do it somewhere somehow. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely appreciate the fact that my family, they respect art.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like you guys got some prodigies. That's
Man,
that's impressive and amazing. I mean, we need that in the world right now. And,
amen.
we also need that to just in general, something that we can all relate to or feel to kind of take us away from the bad and, make us aware
Yeah.
that not everything is negative. But
No, facts, facts, facts.
yeah. I mean, I wanted to even talk more about like your projects. Like you're a busy person, an actor, a director, a performer, a model, everything, an entrepreneur. And
Yes, yes, yes.
you have all these projects happening at once. Would you say you maintain your mental balance and avoid burnout with your family and with your friends or in the way you create your art? Like, do you have a system that help you?
We're actually working on the system now, being the fact that I've been in the industry for a well long time, and I'm not going to cap burnout is real, especially when you have real life knocking on one side and you have what we call, I say, fantasy life. Because I mean, being an actor, it's kind of hard to be able to tell what is real and what isn't when this is what we do for a living. You know what I'm saying? That's
Yeah.
something that's been on my mind for a very long time. That's why I'm very gracious with when I act and how I act, and me being an honest man when I'm not acting.
Yeah.
So for me, it's a lot that I appreciate. Cheese was just reminding me yesterday, like, bro, you're getting it done. Like the film I was in last year that we filmed about last year that just came out on Relay is about to be on a couple other different streaming platforms as
Hmm.
far as Amazon Fire, Apple TV, and some other things, maybe Beauty. And we're really just trying to keep those things, afloat, because eventually it's just going to be accumulation of different things that I've done, as far as the music, as far as the modeling, as far as the business, the company. It's really just to make sure that you don't stop. As my dad would say, you feel me, before they figured out, they was famous, they just kept making them. He's like, it don't matter if it was one of these, you see what I'm saying? It could be one of these or a lighter, you see what I'm saying? What made the
Yeah.
company and the business known to this day is the fact that he just kept making them. So you keep making them every day. You keep making them. I own my studio. I come here. Not only do I record my music, I record others. You know what I'm saying? I engineer, and put other help into other places as well, so I can make sure that these things will always, come back to the same placement of fruit. You feel me?
Yeah.
So for me, it's just having the energy to be able to get back up every day and chase these faces. As I say in the song, wake up every day, fully locked in, working on this, brand new wave, CEO on the way, boss man
Yeah.
for the pay. You don't know what it took to get to this place, nigga. I had to go make a way. Phone this bitch put to the gas. I ain't hit no Blake, brace it to the face. She's trying to think I'm Asian. Baby, what's your place? We need more communication. Cause shit, I'm tired of waiting. Baby girl, I've been being patient. But I'm up like every day trying to get right back to these faces. It should get complicated. So
Yeah.
it is complicated, it's life. But for the most part, we gotta appreciate what's going on. I gotta appreciate every day that I get to be able to get up and go to work. I get to be able to put my career in front of me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I get to change all these things. I get to change all these values. I get to make these things possible and real. You feel me? So for me, I'll never look at it and be like, dang, I gotta go to work.
Hmm.
What? What? You can ask my family and my friends. I will dip. No matter if it's out the state, out the country, I will dip. If I got to get there, I will get there. No matter if it's me getting on a bus, no matter if it's me having to take a train, no matter if it's me having to take a plane and then a bus, and then I will get there.
Hmm.
I will do it. I will do it. I will do it. I will do it. Because eventually I want to get to the point where my nepotism changes the whole interstate of my family. You see what I'm saying? Where people are able to say like, well, I knew your uncle, I knew your daddy, I knew your brother. You feel me? And he's such a upstandingness, or he's such a being that I'm also able to lend that hand that way. I'm also able to lend that favor this way. You see what I'm saying? I want to make sure that we can get back to the prosperous points of life. You know, the only currency that we should be exchanging is the currency of our presence. Because I know how to do something, you know how to do something. If I don't know how to do it, and you know how to do it, then we can just exchange time and presence. Because that's why we're here.
Yeah.
Everything else is shits and giggles. But for the most part, our time and our presence, that's what we depend on here. That's what makes this life what it is. You see what I'm saying? So for me, if you need me, I'm here. That's what I wanted in the first place. I want it to be, everyone wants to be used, just not misused, reused, and abused. These things have to be understood. You want to be used for the things you want to be used for, just not the things you don't, you know?
I mean, You said it here. Like I just I I don't know. It's touched me to the point I'm wordless. I don't know.
Oh man,
But I
it's a
really
beautiful
feel
thing knowing that we have backup. We have the best backup ever. And when you find your people, when you find your beings, when you find your community, it's nothing you can't do.
yeah.
It's nothing you can't do, and it keeps growing. It doesn't stop. Don't think that the mission stops.
Yeah. No, it doesn't. Well, I mean, and that kind of leads into my next and final question as we wrap up today, because it's been a
Oh
great,
no,
great conversation with you. I mean, you've just given me so much enlightenment as personally as a person and or as a being,
as
and
being.
you
See,
know,
we changing it. We changing it in your brain right now.
yeah, as a being, and I hope everyone else was touched equally. But I wanted to ask you our final question, a question that we always close off with our signature. What does ambition mean to you?
What does ambition mean to me? Ambition is the catalyst to the fire. Ambition is being able to know that there's a change needed and that there's only one that can make these things happen. No matter if you are in a team, you guys all have a position. You guys all have a role to play. You guys all have a point. And your purpose and your prosperity is the basis of why you're here. You know, we need to stop asking why. I learned that a long time ago. Humans are made of matter. We are the presence of our why. Now the question we need to start asking is who, because that's what's going to get you the true placement of where you're going and what you're getting this from. You want to know the difference between you coming from God's plan or you coming from the enemy's distraction. You're truly going to be able to discern if this person is a friend or foe based upon who who is
Yeah.
leading you, who is giving you these senses of direction. You know what I'm saying? And truly, when you find the values in prosperity, when you find the values in your purpose, these things will always speak for you. You might not even have to say another word because being in communion with God is almost being in perfect silence and peace. You know what I'm saying? We have sensory overload. We have senses for a reason to remind ourselves of what happens on the outside to be able to come back in. But the best part about what we're able to do in life is to talk about it. That's our sixth sense as a human being, to be able to talk about it. If everything was so perfect the way that we act like it is, we wouldn't talk. So if we truly want to make life the way it's supposed to be, right? If we truly want to be able to interact the way we're supposed to, we got to use our skills for the sense of our sensory for real. We got to actually gift everyone with the things that we're needed. There's speakers, there's workers, there's shakers, there's breakers. There's a position in every sense of life. So to be able to look up, you have to find what is yours, not what you're good at, what you're fruitful from, what you're purposeful from. You know what I'm saying? Because 9 out of 10, they might line up, but there's many things that I'm good at that ain't got nothing to do with my duty, my gift, you know. And to remind yourself that the duty and the gift is the goal, everything else will work out. No matter if it's a want or a need, I'm telling you, it'll work out.
I love that. I mean, I think that's going to give a lot of people hope nowadays, especially with everything going on.
That's
So
so
I
crazy.
really,
I just started song. I built this shit off hope. They say faith without no work is dead.
I mean, you did. You really did. That's where it stems from. That's where it's blossoming from. So, I really appreciate it, and I want to say thank you so much for your time, for your. I know you're a busy person, and it's been a great, great conversation we got to have together, and I hope everyone was able to learn just as much as I was today, and was able to be touched just as much as I was. But
Thank you, thank you.
I
I
really
appreciate
think,
y'all so much. And remember, you never met
yeah.
a being like met a being. You hear me?
Where can we find some of your projects upcoming? Anything that is going to be coming up soon that everyone should be keeping an eye out for?
Okay, so first up, One Day is now out on Relay. Everybody can go and check that out on Relay currently. And then I have 3 projects out right now as far as music: Diary of a Black Man's Heart Love Letters, Diary of a Black Man's Heart Lost Love Letters, and then Arise from Darkness, the deluxe. You see what I'm saying? So all of those are out. I will be dropping another album coming soon. We're working on making the Real Me album happen, guys. That's my real music. So it's taken some time to be able to really even get to this point. And I will say, I thank everybody for that has heard it and has been there to help me make it. to
Mhm.
really let my heart be shown, really let the real true me be shown in my music. So I can't wait to get that out. That's really what we're working on right now. I'm probably going to drop some singles until that comes. I'm probably going to drop like maybe 5 to 10 singles until that album comes. Because once that album comes, I definitely want to go on tour with that. I don't care how much it's going to take, how hard it's going to be. If I got to do it with just me and my boy Cheese, but we finna go on tour. We need to start, traveling and cultivating these minds and these spirits, no matter what. So
Yeah.
I
Oh,
appreciate everybody for their time. I appreciate everybody for their ears and their presence. And it's one thing to understand these things, but it's another thing to be them. So I encourage you and I advise you to get up and start being.
thank you so much.
And
And
that's coming from Meta. That's coming from Meta.
I hope everyone honestly takes that advice. It's been, an interesting time recently, so I really wish the best for everyone, and including yourself. And I can't wait to see where your endeavors take you. I'm excited to see hopefully that tour one day. But
Thank
yeah.
you, thank you, thank you. You gotta get tickets. I promise you.
Oh
You gonna be there. You
yeah.
gotta come turn up with Meta for the one time.
We will for sure, everyone. Thank
Yes,
you so
yes.
much. Thank you so much for being here today. And thank you, everyone, for joining us today on an amazing, amazing episode of Ambition Amplified with Julian Williams,
Yes,
and
yes,
also
yes.
known as Meta Being. And everyone, don't
Meta
forget to
being.
follow here on Instagram and follow Ambitious Entertainment for more entertainment and entertaining videos like this. Have a good night, everyone. Thank you so much. Take care, everyone. Have a good night. Bye.
Very one.